and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots,
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, the Mad Hatter.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes.
Well,
I'm Zach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were
welcoming
me.
welcome
okay.
into you too.
I'm so sorry.
I'm Zach, joined as always by that other voice you hear
Hello.
or guy you see, depending on how you're partaking in this podcast, by the always marvelous one, Mr. Mike.
Why do they put flaps on all these pockets?
I was about to say, very fascinated with these pockets.
I don't know why they put flaps on all these
Well,
pockets.
does it have a button, though? Like, you can close
it. It does. It has a button. I guess that I solved my own problem. But, like, I've got another shirt like this.
You can close it. So,
well,
I
I've
mean,
got another shirt like this, and it
there.
has little magnets instead of buttons.
But how strong is the class?
They're fairly strong. I mean, I know I was sterile for about 6 hours, so I mean they're fairly strong. But I don't know how would you measure that? How sterile am I now, Julie?
Well, no, like how strong are the magnets of the shirt? Like
it's pretty strong magnet.
Yeah.
No, this one, like what I end up doing is I take the little flap on my pocket and I tuck it in. Because I like to put my glasses in it and things, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
And so it would...
I don't want to be hampered by a flap.
This is Bros, Foes, and Heroes, podcast, usually
about
weekly.
clothing.
Usually weekly. We took a week off. But where Mike and I discuss either a comic book character or a storyline. We're going to discuss a character today. So multiple stories, but yeah. From the golden age of comics, Mike's favorite time.
1996.
No, I didn't say the time where comics was trying to get out of the absolute like crash that it would just been in, and the dregs that it was in until the Spider-Man movies. But all this to say is, I usually present this to Mike, where Mike knows enough to enjoy it, and Mike is going to enjoy what we have for you today. I'm going to show you the covers because we're going to break this up. We're covering a character from 1946.
Ooh.
Just 2 appearances, January and February of 1946. So this is post
Drunky McDrinkerton.
World War II. But Mike, we are going to look at a hero today known as, it went out on me.
There it is.
Mad Hatter.
Not the Mad Hatter.
Just Mad Hatter. He does go by the Mad Hatter, but so.
What am I looking at here?
Like who he is. So Mad Hatter is...
Where does the face in the middle come from?
Is the guy. It's the mask that the gorilla's wearing. That is one of our stories. Here's what's funny about this, though. Unless whoever scanned it in got it backwards.
Yeah.
The story involving the gorilla doesn't happen until issue 2. That is the cover for issue 1.
Oh.
So false advertising a little bit.
Well, it does say number 1 up at the top there. I mean...
That's true. Well, the story, I'm saying unless the story that was into should be with 1.
The Mad Hatter's wearing a diaper.
So it's fur, actually.
The white stuff he's wearing around his wiener? It's a diaper, man. That's what that looks like.
It's fur.
Looks like a big old diaper.
It's fur, so are his gloves.
Nope, and it still looks like a diaper. And he's got a hat in the middle of his chest. And it's not far enough up. Like... When you see Superman, it's not like the S is right about here at his 6-pack, you know? It's just not far enough up.
No, it's here. I'll switch me to that side. So yeah. So those are the 2 covers for the 2 issues that he appeared in. Would you be surprised?
He's only in 2.
He's only in 2. And you know what? I'm actually going to guess. that is the case, that scan is supposed to be with issue 1.
Yeah, it's probably supposed to be the other way around.
So we're going to cover then the stories from the very first issue because those are the 2 best with a small little one thrown in. And we'll quickly cover the other stories that are there. When I say quickly, we're going to just quickly.
I like how this one has a big K on it.
Yeah, that's whoever scanned that in. It's
yeah.
So, just a little quick background about the Mad Hatter. As I said, he appeared in Mad Hatter.
There's your background.
Here's the thing. We don't have a background for him at all. Do you
for real?
Know? Yeah, nothing. Here's also the thing. You want to know what superpowers he has? Absolutely none.
Really?
Yeah. So why is he the Mad Hatter?
And he's incontinent. I mean,
so why
Jesus.
is he the Mad
What
Hatter?
a guy.
Who knows?
He's pissed because he's got to wear a diaper.
He never wears a hat. Nothing he does with a hat. So
Look at him. He just looks insane.
He talks in rhymes sometimes.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
the only thing.
Yeah, this is all taking place in his head.
But this is a story or a comic that was published by the OW Comics Corps back then, also known as the Oxton and Woolfolk Comics Corporation.
Oh, I was going to guess that.
Yeah. It says victims of the acute paper rationing of 1945.
Victims. Victims, you say.
The publisher was
Victim.
of the acute. That's how it was worded. Of the acute paper rationing of 1945 to 1949, which bankrupted many U.S. publishing companies.
That was because of a war.
During World War II.
Yeah.
This company, the OW Comics Inc., was short-lived, and it consisted of two comics veterans, Bill Woolfolk, who had worked for MLJ and Fawcett from comics we've covered, and Jack Oxton Sr., a film editor.
So that's where the name came from.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
a film editor from Paramount News. They co-created the Mad Hatter number 1 and 2
News.
and co-founded their company. So essentially, they made this comic, and that's about it. And then it went out.
They said, you know what would be great?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that you can take from Alice in Wonderland, and we could make them a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
How about the worm? No. How about that weird cat? No. How about the Mad Hatter? Now you're onto something.
Exactly. Here's the thing about this too. Just the Mad Hatter was an attorney named Grant Richmond, right?
Okay.
Who craved adventure with his superb athletic ability and his signal hat
That he never wears.
I'll explain that in a minute.
Uh-huh.
He took on crime bosses. His only power is that he is good with his fists.
And he knows right from wrong.
That is honestly it.
And he wears a diaper.
We'll never know anything else about it. Let's look at the other stories of the Mad Hatter before we get into the good ones. The two
It's
good
not
ones that we
often
cover.
that the art inside the comic book is better than the art on the cover.
Yeah, this is the one of him like walking like proud chest. Is this one?
Yeah.
So of the two stories here, and by Bill Woolfolk, as you see there, there's one where Mad Hatter is trying to catch these criminals, and in the process, like he's on their plane, and they fall off, and they both crash into essentially this golden city. It's like the golden city that everybody was looking for, explorers.
Can you go
back
back one page? I would like to point out the move in the lower left-hand box there, where the man is on his front hands, not his back hands,
You don't
his
do that
front
a lot?
hands, and then he kicks over himself at the guy.
just to miss being shot.
Yeah.
Does it not seem like he's putting his dick in danger?
It does very much seem like his diaper is a problem.
Yeah, but it's like why he could have left his legs down. It's like he's purposely just taunting him now and throwing his legs up there needlessly.
I also do like very much the expression on the man's face up in the top right-hand corner who just says, yipe, not yipes, not yikes.
Just one single.
Yipe.
So,
yipe.
this is essentially a story of where
He's fighting God.
So they arrive in this golden city. It's the golden city that De Leon was looking after the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. And they decided to stay there, and because they're cut off from the outside world, like they send people out every now and then just to like take in technology that we have.
Does that guy have a spade on his head?
He is.
Okay.
Here's the thing. He's a bad guy.
It's old
with
Spade
the name,
head.
with the name Spade. It's like Spade Sanders or something like that.
Boy, that is right on
Yeah.
the money there.
Anyway, so the group, they stay there away from the rest of civilization, so they haven't been corrupted by things like crime and crime.
Crime and crime, sure.
Crime and crime, right?
Yeah.
So they have no need
It's
for
that famous book,
Mad
Crime
Hatter,
and Crime.
Mad Hatter there, yeah, to fight crime or any, so they believe everybody. Like there's also like, there's a point where Spade, this evil villain here, goes, he and his henchman
Spade.
I can't remember. Yeah,
The
he
henchman
calls
there
him
looks like a
Spade.
ventriloquist dummy.
It does. He calls him Spade, but what's his name? Does it say?
His real name is Ace.
I don't remember the sidekick's name. It says it there somewhere too. Anyway,
Flappy McGummerstein.
Yep, Slappy McGummerstein and Spade decide that they're going to steal some of the gold stuff there, and Mad Hatter catches them. And when he catches them, he shows them to De Leon, because also the guy running it is named after the explorer. Still, he's a relative, obviously.
Sure.
And he shows them hey, I caught these guys stealing, and he's like, no, here we share everything. So if they needed it, then they don't need to have reason to take it. What is ours is everyone.
So there is just zero lead up to this as why this guy is hanging on to their airplane. It just starts off, big muscle boy hanging onto their airplane.
No.
Is that how this works?
No. So back at the beginning, after we explain why we're there, there's a bank robbery going on.
There's a pinhead up at the top there, too.
Yeah, so that is at the law office of Fuddy and Bustle. Because you want to know.
God bless you.
Because you want to know what else fills the pages of Mad Hatter comics?
What's that?
Fuddy and Bustle comics.
Fuddy and Bustle.
So those two have comedy comics in between.
Oh, how fun. Fuddy and Bustle.
And they are very absent-minded. We'll see later. They're like, oh, where were we? We have very important business to attend to. Where are we going? Wait, where are we going? Where?
Oh, it's comedy gold.
Yeah, and Grant Richmond, who is the Mad Hatter, he's like, do y'all have the courthouse? Yes, we got something at the courthouse. Very important business. Yeah, all right, we're off to the courthouse for our business. Very important business. I had a client coming in. Maybe Grant can handle it. No, don't give it to Grant. He's very absent-minded. Now, where were we going again? Where were we going? We had something like that kind of stuff.
That's good writing.
I mean, I probably made it even better.
By the way, the horn on that car goes wee.
The horn on your car goes
wee.
So there was a bank robbery that he was chasing. No, that's the siren. That's the police siren.
Wee.
He hops on the cop's car. This is back at the beginning. The Mad Hatter hops on the cop's car.
Oh, no, my mother's been murdered. Call the cops. Wee. Wee. That's how that happens. Wee! Oh, jinx it. It's the cops. Wee!
I can tell they're here at least, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
that's true.
Man, maybe.
Where are they at? Wee! Oh, I see. They're right there. I got it. Yeah. Wee.
I never know what you're going to focus in on each week.
Oh, it's definitely wee. Yeah. Anytime it says wee, I'm going to focus on that.
So that's the cop car that they chase after. When he gets close enough to the crooks, he hops on their plane.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, all right.
And that's when they parachute out.
Sure.
He goes to steal the parachute. Oh, I guess I didn't say that. He goes to steal the crook's parachute.
It doesn't matter,
and
honestly.
He lands through. I was trying to make it short.
I know.
Through their smoke screen that has protected the Golden City from public view.
Sure.
And that's why they see.
That's perfect.
We're going to focus on the dumbness of the other stories.
Okay. All right, let's go. Come on.
Anyway.
I'm ready.
So he's like, yeah, no, they're not thieves because here everything belongs to everybody.
Sure.
So they let him go, and they decide to kidnap De Leon instead.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Go back one page.
That one?
Why is that guy sitting in that chair that way?
Showing off.
He's just presenting his crotch to the whole room. Look at him.
But here's the thing. It's only the two of them.
Well, then he likes old Spade there.
But why is he pursing his lips so much to...
I don't know. There's a lot going on
There's nothing
here.
in his for the people that are just listening. It's bad.
The guy that looks like God has a lazy eye. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
And it looks like he's supposed to be smoking or even maybe toking.
Yeah.
How you were to hold.
It's like a tornado's coming out of his mouth.
But there's nothing in his fingers. There's no smoke or anything.
Yeah.
So it just looks like he's. I don't know.
No.
Anyway.
Not great.
So they kidnap De Leon, who's the mayor of the Golden City or whatever.
Okay. Mayor of the Golden City that nobody's supposed to see and is covered by clouds, right? Is that?
It's a smoke screen, but
yeah. How do you get that position? Who voted you into office?
His grandpa found it, or however far back it goes. Ponce found it. So Mad Hatter busts through the door, and again, let's talk about what he's wearing.
Yeah.
He's wearing it's like a green full body onesie, and over that he's wearing fur gloves and trunks and boots and a cape that are all white and a red domino mask. The onesie's purple, and the circle for the symbol in the center is there's a green circle around it, and then it's a purple hat with yellow background. Here's also something that you're going to see. You know how we talked about how Spider-Man has like a symbol,
Yeah.
that, or like, the bat symbol. You know the bat symbol, how to appear, and like, oh no, like
Well, we saw the Spider-Man one with the Dune buggy, the spider buggy, or whatever it was.
So it was like to show that Spider-Man was showing up, and I thought it was dumb, but somebody else brought up that it's kind of like when the glass broke for Stone Cold to show up, of like,
Sure.
Hey, it's them being like, boom, here's Spider-Man. I'm here to kick some Spidey ass, or whatever he would say, you know?
And I'm all out of ass.
So I'm going to Spidey you.
Wee!
Spidey you so hard. Oh, man. Usually you got to pay extra for this,
So
but
good.
I'm all out of ass.
I'm all out of ass, and I'm going to Spidey the shit out of you.
Wee!
Wee!
Instead of the woos from Ric Flair.
Thwip.
Yeah.
Wee!
Thwip. Wee!
Mm-hmm. Sound it makes whenever he's here's
what was I talking about?
Okay, hang on 1 second.
No,
there's a
lost
deal
in
with
this
Spider-Man,
part.
right? There's a deal with
it.
Spider-Man. Like sometimes he has a little canister on his thing, and sometimes it comes out of his arm.
So sometimes they're organic, and sometimes he does make the web shooters.
When it comes out of his
it
arm,
depends on the different version of Spider-Man.
do you think he has like a little like whenever
ooh,
like that?
Like a shiver?
Yeah,
I'd like to think so.
yeah, I would think so too. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the
making crime fun again.
Yeah. Well, so it has to be the web in Spider-Man Reign, which they made a second one of.
Yeah.
I didn't read, where Mary Jane died from.
Yeah. Where he toxicologied her to death or whatever.
I would think that. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter if those were organic or not. Because he didn't I was like, he webbed her to death, but he didn't actually web her to death. He used a different kind of webbing.
Sure. Yeah. Either way, it's stuck.
Yeah. To her somewhere.
To her over.
Gave her cancer. Anyway.
Whee!
So we're talking about how Spider-Man projects the thing and shows up. So Mad Hatter does that, and everybody's like, "Oh, snap! It's the Mad Hatter." But
snap! There's a hat sale downtown.
we don't know how he projects the Mad Hatter thing.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It never shows how he projects it. So it'll appear on random things. The size will differ, and it's not this is you see he doesn't have a utility belt or anything.
Flashlight up his ass.
So we don't know where he carries this light, or maybe he has one guy that's with him, and he's like, "Craig, hit the light
Craig,
now,
go now, go."
Yeah. Boom! Oh, Mad Hatter.
Oh no, not the Mad Hatter.
Perfect, buddy. So Mad Hatter shows up after he shines his Hatter.
Here's
light
the other issue. You're over here. Here's the other issue. How do these guys get started? You throw this thing up in the air and everybody goes, "Oh dear God, no, not Batman. He's coming." Well, there had to be that first time where you throw it up in the air and everybody goes, "What the fuck is that?"
Here's the thing. He's only around for 2 issues.
Yeah.
4 stories in total. That's not enough time for people
That's
to
what
be
I'm saying. It's
by the end of the 4th one, 25% of the goons they're like, "What is that?" And they're like, "I think that's that hat guy."
It's not even enough time if you were selling hats to get it through people's thick skulls that there's a big sale.
It was I was part of a crew at one point in time that he told me about some hat guy that came in.
And he's shooting it onto this guy's back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is probably the person who can see it is the other criminal that's there.
So weird.
So he rescues De Leon, and they're like, "All right, we'll go ahead and we'll take them back to prison."
Sure.
They blindfold them to lead them out so they can never find the Golden City again, and they leave. Whatever, done. It's the end of that one.
Oh, there's Humpty Dumpty.
The other time he fights Humpty Dumpty, do you think that this means that Humpty Dumpty has any kind of cool nursery rhyme power or anything?
I would think so, and I'd probably be wrong, huh?
You would be. Humpty's just lazy.
He's just lazy and fat and bald.
That's essentially it.
Okay.
And he has a cane that does stuff.
I will say this though.
Yeah.
When the Mad Hatter kicks people in the face, they go yee. Y-I-I-I. Yee.
Yees and wees. That's all we have to hand out.
Yee, wee. Oh boy, that's how you can tell a cop car from an ambulance. The cop car just goes wee. Ambulance goes yee wee yee wee.
You know what I haven't given to you? I haven't given you the gems of what he yells out while he fights people. I can't believe I've deprived you of that.
7 3/4.
No,
Something like that?
It's worse than. Hold on, where is this at? I love this is great. It'll come up on this one anyway. When he fights people,
There's a snap back to crime.
He'll sometimes throw out rhymes, and we'll find it for sure on the ones coming
good.
up. But
nothing sparks fear in the hearts of criminals more than rhyming.
He likes to think so. Anyway, so this, you know what? Real quick, this podcast, it's not, but it could be.
Yeah.
Brought to you by HEB.
It is brought to you by HEB.
There we go. If they hear this and they get back to us and they're like, oh, we want that spot.
Hey, HEB.
We'll put an ad right here.
HEB, hit me up. Hey,
right here.
HEB, come on, hit me up.
If you don't see an ad,
yeah,
we're still working on it.
Sure.
So,
hey, by the way,
and here's the thing: it's evergreen because we can always just come back and fill this spot right here with an ad.
Anybody who's from the outside of Texas, HEB.
Oh, that is true.
HEB stands for Howard E. Butts. That was the guy's name, Butts. And you would think, oh, is it spelled differently? Nope, spelled like your butt.
You know, honestly, funny enough, they call an area of Dallas HEB now because it's Hearst, Euless, and Bedford.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they'll get sued for that.
And I think that they now actually have HEBs in the DFW area.
Oh, boy.
So there you go.
No more Albertsons for you.
Again, all this will be removed
if
we have the commercial.
No.
If we have a commercial, we'll fill it with
here's the thing. I am a big fan of HEB. I think we are very spoiled because we do have good grocery stores.
This time I got us off track. That is true. We do have really good.
Yeah.
For a whole state, we do. Is Randall's a local thing, or is that like a nationwide thing?
I think Randall's is mostly up north, isn't it?
I know there's Randall's here, though, and Albertsons.
Well, there's a guy named Randall.
We have a mix. Yeah. You ever been to Randall's house? Like, he just sits there.
He's got so many dry goods. Fucker's he's got an open thing of just dried beans. He just lets you stick your hand right in it and take as many as you want.
It's like when you go to like the Homestead Heritage thing. It's like those giant barrels with the tops off, and it's just filled with beans.
So we used to have a place. Were
you
you alive when we had Sack and Save here?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember what it was like inside the Sack and Save?
Briefly.
I
remember the ads more than anything in green shopping carts.
Sack and Save was it was the Wild West of grocery stores. Like, you go in there, number one, you got to bag your own damn groceries, right? Because that's in the name, sack it and save, right? But then you would go by certain areas of the store. They were just open barrels full of shit, and you just reach in and grab some. Oh, I like pumpkin seeds. Let me get a bunch of pumpkin seeds.
Here's the thing, Mike. They had a bag you could, like, drop it into after that handful.
I'm going to ask you a serious question here, Zach.
Yeah.
The people that you've met in the last, I don't know, let's narrow it down and say 20 years. Okay. Do you think any of them would have not stuck their hand directly in the barrel?
Yes. I know people who would not have.
How many, do you think there's more people that would or more people that would not?
That would, like, put the bag over their hand and stick it in?
Well, now that's a different breed entirely, because you've got bag people and you've got non-bag people.
Well, hold on. We're non-bag people keeping the pumpkin seeds.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What they do is they just go pumpkin seeds, and they take them up to the front, and they scan their face, and then they just put them in their pocket, and they walk out, and there's leaking pumpkin seeds all over the parking lot.
I know maybe 2 people who do that.
That's why we have so many pumpkin trees.
I know 2 people who do that.
2 people? My mother and my father.
And one of them, yeah. Oh, man. One of them has $4 in his name, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. That happened. It had to happen.
But somebody had.
Well, like in this building, I tell people that people died in this building that are always surprised. Well, I'm like,
sure they have,
this building is 110 years old. How has someone not died in this building?
That's true.
If someone has not died in this building, guess what? It might be you. Because it's gonna happen. If you leave a vat of open beans somewhere, people are gonna stick their digits in it.
So that is, I feel like we've talked about this. It's been a while since we've had a random rant in the middle of an episode. Or where we've gone completely off the rails.
This has nothing to do with the Mad Hatter? What?
No, I'll try to bring us back in after this. Which, by the way, that sometimes nope, I can't do this. I have to stay on track. Yeah. So my brother and I always had a game that we would play.
Yeah.
And my other brother was like, nah, that's not.
Bean or no bean.
I call it a game. It's not really a game, but we were just like, if you can think of it, like somebody somewhere.
That's.
It's happened, or like somebody's into that.
1,000,000% true.
And our other brother was like, no way. And he'd like try to come up with scenarios.
Yep.
And we'd be like, nah,
Yep.
think about it. 7 billion people.
Yep.
There's not one person. And you'd like find something that's kind of close and you just create like a little bit and they're like, okay. So like, yeah. Like,
yep. It has happened. Whatever it is, it has happened. Rule 34.
Exactly. Rule 34. Now.
Otherwise known as the I'd fuck that rule. That's what that is.
Not the rule itself. Let's clarify. Mike's not going after the rule.
No, I don't want to fuck the rule, but I'm sure there is someone who's into that.
Because Mike thinks.
I love rules.
Oh, yeah, that's the shirt I'm getting you for your birthday.
I love rules.
What if I make rules like all caps or something?
Yep, I love rules.
So it's like, I love rules.
Rules rule.
Yeah. Oh, duels rule. Anyway, back to Mad Hatter. So Humpty Dumpty is very lazy.
Uh-huh.
And he has a cool cane, essentially.
Okay.
He runs away as the Mad Hatter busts up his. Like,
I think runs is a little stretching it just a little bit.
He
but
hobbles away
sure.
as he busts up like his fur racket or whatever Humpty's got going on.
Yeah, I see him taking out all those furs.
Yeah. So what does Humpty do then? Because he's like, man, maybe the life of crime's not for me. He decides to become a crime consultant instead.
A crime consultant?
A crime consultant.
Who knew that was a job?
It says 4 out of 5. Yes, statistics prove that 4 out of 5 presently active criminals have police records. Why make mistakes? Come to the man with the plan. Visit Humpty Dumpty, the crime consultant. Reasonable fees, results guaranteed. So he's taking out an ad in the paper.
Here's my favorite part about that ad. Go back to the ad. It fits in that box. Not what actually fits on the paper. You see at the bottom where it like scooches over just so it fits into the box? Oh, I got to write it so that it'll fit in a box.
But then if you think about it, it's just blank space over there.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a big blank space over there.
And
so
the text is at an angle for no reason.
So it looks like it says reasonable fees.
Results guaranteed. So they go see Humpty, and Humpty are these two crooks. They go see Humpty Dumpty, and Humpty gives them plans about the horse race. They're gonna steal. They're gonna steal like this. This
is beyond stupid.
This cup that's like crowned with diamonds and stuff, right?
Sure, that they put on a horse.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Oh, so here's some of the comedy that I was telling you about. Back at the law office of Fuddy and Duddy.
Fuddy and Duddy.
Fuddy and Bustle. Sorry.
Fuddy and Bustle, same thing.
Yeah. Grant's like, Fuddy's like, we're going to defend our client, Freddie Gaunt, and Grant Richmond, aka Mad Hatter, says, has it slipped your mind that Freddie Gaunt jumped bail last week? The police are still looking for him. And Grant adds, there can't be a trial until they find him. If there's no trial, there's no client. And the two lawyers look at each other, and one goes, he makes sense, Bustle. And Bustle goes, you're quite right, Fuddy. And so Fuddy looks at Grant and goes, then our duty is plain. Like, you have to go find Freddie. Like, if we don't have a client, then we have nobody to convict.
He doesn't just tell him that. He puts his finger directly on the man's nose.
Because he's asked him, like, where are we going? Oh, we're off to court to defend our client, Freddie. And so they send him after to go find Freddie Gaunt then, since he's jumped bail. And we jump back to the lawyers, and it goes, no sooner does Grant Richmond depart than the two senior partners suffer another attack of absent-mindedness.
Mwah, mwah.
Yeah, and Fuddy goes, what are we doing with our briefcases, Bustle? And Bustle goes, we're all dressed up, too. We must be going someplace. And they go, oh, now I remember, we're going to the courtroom. Like, no, you just weren't, but they can't. Like, they're absent-minded lawyers. That's the whole joke about them.
Do you think they're a couple?
I hope so. That'd make them. I'm looking at the wall. Nothing. There we go.
Make it better, though, wouldn't it?
That would make it give them
like if they're like an
sort
old
of,
married couple.
Yeah,
kind
give
of
them
thing.
some sort of personality. If not, this is annoying.
Yeah.
So,
otherwise, they're just idiots.
Exactly.
Who happen to be lawyers.
So Mad Hatter, they go to the horse races, and the two crooks show up to steal that gold diamond
Horse crown.
Yeah. And he's about to get away. What? The Mad Hatter sign shows up on that truck. See what I mean? It just appears.
Watch out.
Okay, get the truck. The Mad Hatter. And as he kicks the guy, he goes, "I'll crown you."
Oh boy.
Yeah. And it goes with a lovely loving cup. Yeah. And then he takes it and he goes, "I didn't realize how much you cared." I guess
Is that another phrase for a jockstrap? A loving cup?
Maybe. So they run him down with the truck. I don't know. So I'm not gonna answer it. The other crook
Hey, look out!
runs him down with the truck, and the Mad Hatter rolls across the hood, and they crash into a wall, and they think, "Oh, he must be gone." Oh, before he shows up, sorry, Mad Hatter had called the police station looking for the head of police, and he wasn't there. He was gone because he was here, thinking something might go down.
Could I speak to the head of police, please?
His name that's Inspector Craig. Maybe that's what Craig was in my mind. And so Humpty Dumpty's like, "Well, this is my time to leave," as he sees the truck crash with Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
And Inspector Craig hops up and he goes, "I'm Inspector Craig of the police headquarters. Aren't..."
That's like me saying, I'm Mike of Rogue from the Alico building.
That is,
I mean, it's just so specific.
I'm Inspector Craig of police headquarters. Aren't you? And that's when he cuts him off. Hold on, let me try to use my cough button.
You understand that my microphone's on too. Oh no, I guess you were just controlling the whole.
I was
one over
controlling
there.
mine.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, no. So you talking they could still hear me a little bit, but it just wasn't right in their ear.
Okay.
And so anyway, Humpty Dumpty trips Inspector Craig as he chases after him with his cool cane, and he falls down. And Humpty tells him, "You were going to ask me if I'm Humpty Dumpty. The answer is yes." And then he tells him, "Climbing stairs is too strenuous, but at that it's easier than falling down them."
He's the one that's supposed to fall down.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I think that's the joke.
Huh,
the crook
okay.
gets out of the
That's a
truck
great
and
joke.
sees the Mad Hatter's cape. His lifeless body's laying there with his fur cape laying over his head, and he's like, his purple.
This man is wearing a diaper.
His purple onesie with his diaper and his fur just laying over his head.
What a guy.
And the crook's like, "I'm just gonna leave him here." He goes,
Roll 34. Gotta go.
The Mad Hatter didn't live through that crash. I nearly didn't. And he goes to run away, and the crook runs into the Humpty Dumpty in the jockey's room where he was hiding to get away from the Mad Hatter. And the two of them fight, but he uses his cane that he's folded out to sit on. Humpty Dumpty does, to do all these cool moves on the other thug that they sold the original horse planes through that got away. But Mad Hatter shows up and he's like, Humpty Dumpty's like, "Oh, one more move."
That poor fucking horse.
He's like, "My gun, my cane has a rifle bullet in it."
Of course it
essentially.
does. Sure.
And Mad Hatter doesn't believe him, and he takes a step, tells him he's bluffing, and he shoots, and you see the smoke and the bang go by as Mad Hatter falls down again to the floor. So second time you think he's died this story. Humpty Dumpty runs away, hops on a horse.
That fur cape can't be light.
It can't. It's got to be heavy. And so Humpty Dumpty steals a horse, and Mad Hatter steals a horse, and Mad Hatter chases after him on a horse and jumps off of his horse to tackle Humpty Dumpty off of Humpty's horse. And they crash down, and he leaves him there unconscious, and he tucks his calling card into his back left pocket, and his calling card reads, Mike, "A clever man who gave crooked advice, as free as a bird was he, till his cancel failed, and now in a trice, in a prison cage he'll be." And it doesn't sign Mad Hatter. It's just this yellow circle with the hat in it.
So... this is 1940 what?
6.
Okay. I don't think people had access to printers at that point, right? So he had to draw the little hat in.
Well, he works at a law firm, so maybe he uses their stuff late at night.
I'm just saying, somebody had to color that yellow color the hat.
He had the piece of paper.
Does he have a stamp or something, or what?
That's the thing. He had the piece of paper. He just didn't have the stamp. He didn't have the note written out.
Okay.
He just had the yellow stamp there of the hat there already in place.
Mason
so
just came in and gave us the big X crotch.
He did. X crotch.
Is that what it's called?
The suck it thing, yeah.
Crotch X.
That seems like a very failed, like extreme.
I'm just saying,
Anyway,
I want.
he had like the piece of paper. He has it stamped with the hat, and then he just writes with quill and ink. Whatever catchy thing comes to his mind.
I just like the picture in my head that he sits down at some point and he draws in the little hat and he just colors it in, and then he gets out of line and he has to throw that one away and he has to do another one. I just like the fact that he's there with his crayons coloring in his little hat pictures.
I get it. Mike, would you like the stories that I
please.
really like? Anyway, so
wait,
yeah,
and this ends
Humpty.
with Humpty Dumpty and the break making little rocks out of big rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Making little rocks out of Arkansas. So let's go ahead and get into our better stories.
Oh, this is the one with the decapitated head.
We will get into that. Our first story that we get of the Mad Hatter starts with girl reporter dates Mad Hatter, crime boss exposed.
Why doesn't that fit on the newspaper?
I don't know.
Why does it go all the way up to the edge?
You would think the newspaper...
That kind of shit just bothers me. I mean, I'm like, hey, just move it over like an inch.
Because these aren't newspaper people like drawing and making those.
It's the Daily Clarion. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So we're introduced...
That's what I use for my allergies. The
for
Daily
this,
Clarion.
It's a girl named Barbara Blake. And Barbara Blake
has a big-ass forehead.
She does.
Look at that thing.
To go along with her Laura Croft-looking boobs there. Like
yeah, but that forehead... Looks like she got stung by a bee right above her eyeballs.
A little bit. Maybe once the swelling goes down. Oh, never mind. I see the picture you're talking.
And her head's super flat.
I was looking over at the water cooler, and I was like, yeah, her forehead's okay.
Get that
and then
one.
I see it. Yeah, I see it when she's looking at Grant.
That is...
But Barbara is this reporter. And anyway, she is dating Grant at the time.
Okay.
And so Grant goes to see her, and she's like, he's like, man, that man, I could kill him. Talking about her editor, Jim Murray. He's the most stubborn, unpleasant, pig-headed. Like, she's going on. And Grant's like, man, I don't hear a girl talk about that guy a lot unless she likes him a lot. Her editor is very Clark Gable-esque.
And look down at the bottom. Her forehead's there again. Look at that.
Well, yeah, she has to have her forehead.
She got a bubbled forehead.
But she talks about... Man, girl,
forehead.
I love your burble forehead.
Baby, that big ass forehead of yours, woo, gets me going.
Yeah, man. Gonna tuck mine here. I don't want them to
Sometimes
see mine.
It doesn't look like that. I got a big ass forehead too, but you know what mine doesn't do? Stick out.
Well, mine kind of. It's like the weird like caveman kind of.
Yeah, but if you look at that, dude. Her forehead,
it's not like that. No,
at the
you're
very
right.
bottom, her forehead
People
comes out
with
further than her
audio-only
nose.
are screwed for this episode.
Look at that. It comes out further than her nose. That's a big forehead.
Fine.
She has a cave person forehead.
Barbara Blake.
Yeah.
Babs, as she's called.
Looks like two different people.
Talks about how her editor, Jim Miller, wants her to go on a date with the Mad Hatter to figure out who the Mad Hatter is.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
Well, Grant's like, the Mad Hatter? Because he's the Mad Hatter.
Not the Mad Hatter.
Like, he doesn't want you to figure out who he is. So.
I'm sorry, it was either that or Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, they have this back and forth. Like, this is when smoking in offices were cool.
Uh-huh.
And Babs shows up, and she's like, hey, I got this tip. It's going to break a story wide open, a big story. And he's like, don't tell me you've figured out who the identity of the Mad Hatter is. And she's like, no, it's better. This is a letter from Hunky Hinders. Sometimes I know when to pause to let it sink. Yeah.
Hunky Hinders.
He says he'll tell me the name of the real boss of the crime in this city. And he's like, Hinders is just a cheap little gun. He's not like, he's small fish here. Oh, let me go ahead and light that for you. Your gadget will never work. Like, it's like her trying to, spark her lighter. And he's like, that gadget will never work. And he just strikes up a match for it. Because apparently, those small, tiny, dainty hands can't strike matches. What were you saying?
Did I miss that somewhere?
No,
I don't
he's
see
just
a match.
He's insinuating that. That's the thing. They don't draw it. They just talk about it.
Okay.
Because that's what comics are about. You don't show it. You just talk about it.
You just talk about it. That's right, baby.
That's sequential art in general. Said nobody ever.
My big-ass forehead. Oh, good. I don't have to draw that anymore.
So Barbara tells her editor, though, that Hunky's quitting the rackets and, he owes her a favor. So So he's going to tell her the true crime boss's name. And
You couldn't just change it to Henry.
yeah. And he tells her, like, be careful out there, but I'm telling you. I don't know. I'm telling
Down at the
you.
bottom, how he just flies into frame. Look at
Whee!
Yee!
I'm the Mad Hatter!
Yeah, he is. Motherfucker's nuts.
Oh, man. So, her editor tells her, like, to be careful out there. And we do see her going to meet this guy. And, yeah, the Mad Hatter shows up. And as he wheezes in the frame, he goes, isn't it a shame that I've shown up to spoil your game? And that's where one guy goes, the Mad Hatter.
Oh no!
Whee!
He looks like
freaks
like Ric Flair down in the bottom left.
a little bit with his cape. With
the big cape. That's what I'm saying.
So the gang has shown up to the crime boss's gang. We find out has shown up to kidnap Barbara.
Yeah,
because they want the letter from Hunky.
I like to think that he flew through that frame and then just went like on the ground. I'm the Mad Hatter. Oh.
I want to think, and he's like, and they're just looking at each other.
They're like,
they just look at each other,
dude,
and they're
you
like,
all right?
All right, let's get what we want and get
We
out
got to
of
do
here.
some crime. Come on.
But he also says, now that you know, please don't go. I'm really not so bad as I'm painted. By all means, let's get better acquainted. And he's saying this while punching people.
Nope.
See, I told you I saved the better ones here for the end.
Yeah, nobody could understand him.
But one guy goes, lights out for you, you rhyming monkey, and he punches him in the head with like a pipe, and they just hop in and they leave because like we got the letter, we don't have to listen to this, and they go.
You rhyming monkey.
That's what he calls him. And so Barbara, or as Mike likes to talk about her forehead, Barbara Sevenhead gets up and she goes and she shakes Mad Hatter.
Bubble Dome.
And
That's
she
what I'm
goes-
going to call her.
she goes,
Barbara Bubble Dome.
Hatter, speak to me. And he goes, what can I say that would compare to your beauty? And
Oh,
Barbara goes,
God.
oh, you're all right. And Hatter goes, that's female egotism for you. If a man says you're beautiful, that means he's perfectly okay.
What?
And she goes, the letter, it's gone. So he's like inselling over her. And she's just like, yeah, screw you, dude. I don't know about this letter. But she just goes, nothing could compare to your beauty. And she's like, yeah, no, you're fine then.
Where's the letter?
Yeah, where's the letter? I'm sorry I didn't come on to your advances. Where's this letter?
Have you seen
So
the size
they
of my
realize
forehead?
it must be the actual crime boss, and they have to go. Mad Hatter has to go hunt down Hunky to make sure that the crime boss doesn't get to him first. And they show up, and crime boss wears just like a black mask, and he breaks in on Hunky, and he's like,
Boss?
yeah, where you're going? And there's like, no, I was going on a trip, for my health.
Yeah.
And the crime boss says, no, you were going on a trip with my half of the money from, or, with your half of the money from the bank job, and you wanted to squill on me so nobody could turn on you. You wanted to get away for longer. That's what you were doing. Well, I'll help you go on a trip, and it won't be for your health. Suddenly, and that projection shows up even bigger as shit than this time. And he added like blue and green, but we don't know where he keeps it.
Can I ask one question before you turn the page?
Go ahead.
Top left-hand corner. How does that mask stay on his face?
You ever buy those hooks? the sticky adhesive ones that stick to the wall, and you pull at the bottom to get it undone.
Sure.
That's like that. So it has that stuff. It's two-way stuff around the edge of it, and he
In the
peels
40s.
it, and he just smacks it to his face.
Yeah. That's
then
good stuff.
He comes back in time. Oh, just wait till our Wednesday. You want to
Okay.
talk about
All right.
traveling in time.
All right.
Anyway,
Let's go, Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter shows up, and it goes, this time I'm really mad. Like, the Mad Hatter, not mad. He also has great things like,
Pissed Hatter.
what's so soft as a feather bed? Now let me think. I know. It's your head.
Bum, 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 wah, wah.
Yeah, no, I've been reading a lot of Dr. Seuss, the little one.
Oh, yeah.
That is shitty Dr. Seuss.
That is bad Dr. Seuss, right? And Dr. Seuss just fucking made up words.
He did.
He didn't care.
Sometimes he didn't. Like Girdle the Turtle, there is nothing made. Well, the place that
Well, the name
rolls
Yertle.
over is. Yeah.
Also,
Solomon, the place he rolls
I don't
over
know.
is made up.
What's a turtle? I mean, that's just a made up word.
Man, where do we start with that? I think a shell at its core.
You ever seen the inside of a turtle? They're so weird looking.
No, and I don't don't
Like
wanna
when you look
harm.
inside them, they're so odd.
Like when they open their mouth and you look inside.
No,
them,
no,
or
no,
you
no,
cut
no.
'em
Like if you see a
open?
cutaway of a turtle, like you think that it's this thing in this shell. No, the shell is actually part of its body. Like it's just weird. Anyway, I always thought a turtle could come out of their shell and move.
Oh, like the cartoons.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I
But he
thought.
can't.
That's the only information I had at the
That's what I
time.
thought too. That's why I thought quicksand was going to be a lot bigger deal too.
Right? Sure.
I know every
well, that and
comedian's
Pitfall.
made that joke.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Oh, alligators! I'd have to jump on their heads to get from one place to the other. Anyway, the crime boss knocks Mad Hatter out with a gun as he's fighting off the other bad guys, and they tie a bed sheet around his throat and throw him out a window. He uses awesome gymnastics to like wrap himself around and
Awesome
use
gymnastics.
his legs to hold the sheet between his knees
Sure.
as he rubs the rope against the side of the building to cut the ropes loose.
Yeah, he does.
And he goes back in to free Barbara, who the thugs have caught and tied up.
That's the sound he makes whenever he's rubbing his ropes.
And the Mad Hatter tells her,
Look at that bitch's forehead.
"Wow,
Damn.
Mike,
God almighty, that's a big forehead. Look at that thing.
Mike."
I'm so sorry. I thought that was her name.
She gets it from her dad. Gosh.
Her
So-
dad has nothing left then. I mean, it's all gone. It's right there. That's a big-ass forehead. And by the way,
Yeah.
when I call her this,
Oh, yeah.
she's a cartoon.
I know.
She's not a real person. Obviously, by the size of her fucking forehead.
Oh, man. So,
I'm so sorry.
Mad
I got all
Hatter-
worked up.
Mad Hatter tells Barbara, "I know who the crime boss is, and I'm actually going to go get the cops,
Fur
and we're
cape.
going to arrest him." So Barbara, not being able to avoid a story, being the reporter that she is, goes back to her editor and is like, "Hey, the Mad Hatter's about to arrest the crime boss anyway, even though we don't have that letter and we don't have Hunky."
Hunky.
And,
Ain't that always the way?
yeah.
Missing a hunky.
And then, of course, there's another joke. He has to light a match to light her cigarette. And he goes, "Then I guess it's authentic. Have a light. You know that lighter won't work." Like it's a running thing through the whole thing.
He lights
the
her
whole
forehead
story.
on fire.
And he's like, "I've been thinking of a vacation for a long time, a long trip away from everybody. Would you like to come with me?" And he goes, "I love you, Babs. I'm asking you to marry me." And Barbara goes, "You're worried about something? Like, what is it?" And Jim, her editor, goes, "You'll find out sooner or later. There's an important reason why I must leave. You see, I'm the crime boss." Dun, dun, dun.
Wait, who? Who's the crime
The
boss?
editor is.
Okay.
And so Mad Hatter, after he says that, he pops out from a door next to the...
That's all I wanted to know.
That's what he goes. He goes, "That's all I wanted to know."
I've been crouching behind the copier. Excuse me,
And-
the steno machine.
And the editor goes, "What? So you've come?" And he goes, "You gave yourself away. I suspected you, but I couldn't be sure until I could heard you confess." He's like, "Oh, that was a trick." And so the Mad Hatter like leaps at him, and you see his fur cape just like flapping in the wind. As
It looked like his pants fell off down there at the bottom.
and they get into a tussle, and Mad Hatter chases after him and tackles him down some stairs and ends up knocking him out in the press room and tells him like to hold the presses. You're gonna have a new headline. is
And he
what
makes him eat a
essentially tells
sock.
him.
Oh, no, it just says sock when he
Yeah.
hits him.
It's his cape or his glove.
And then the hat is all weird. Like, it's different shaped there.
on his chest. Yeah,
Well, look at it there versus the one you just see it there.
it's a little fatter around the
Well, it's
top of it.
gigantic, and it's right around his belly.
And then over there, it's like on the right side.
Yeah.
So they arrest the editor.
Oh.
And this time, like, he asks for a light, and this time her lighter works when
Of course
the
it
editor,
does. Sure.
the editor asks for a light because he's like, "They're gonna put me away.
Yeah.
I thought we could be something." You know, it's like the '40s crime stuff. And she pulls out her lighter, and this time it works. And he's like, "Guess I won't be lighting yours for you for a long time." Shit, I don't know what
Sure.
else it says. Yeah,
Sure.
that dumb stuff.
Guess I won't be lighting it for you for a long time.
And then they go to lock him up, and she looks at the Mad Hatter, and she goes, "Hatter, will you take me out somewhere where I can laugh if I want to, or cry a little?" And the Mad Hatter goes, "Of course. Queer, isn't it, that you should obey his orders? This will be your first date with the Mad Hatter." The end. Because remember at the beginning, he wanted to date the editor. The editor wanted her Only works for video, but still.
Man, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
I mean, it's God Almighty, that's rough.
Here's a 2-page story
Oh boy, this is clowns.
about the Mad Hatter, where a friend tells Grant about how, like, man, you know, the girl I wanted to marry, she was all into me, and then I found out about her brother who was charged for murder, and now she's not even acting the same anymore. But I love her no matter what. Like, that's just family.
It's a different girl.
And Grant's like, okay, that's what you're going to say?
Yeah.
So Grant's just like, oh, I'll figure this out at the masquerade party. You know what my dumbass is going to masquerade as? The Mad Hatter. So I'm going to talk to this girl who's also dressed up as a superhero. That's the dude's fiance. And he's like, hey, that drink, it gave her away. Huh. Oh, well, the night's nearly over. Oh, also, like, he tries to dance her and then she doesn't want anything with it. And he's like, you're coming with me. And Mad Hatter grabs her arm and the woman goes, let go of my wrist, and then punches her really hard.
Sock.
And then it goes.
But she punches him.
She
He didn't punch her. That would be different. That's an entirely different comic at that point.
My bad. She punches him. And he goes, man, that was quite a wallop for a girl. And she goes, keep away from me
For a girl.
or I'll kill you.
Oh.
And she goes, you've killed before, but not this time. Ah! And he goes and he pulls, and he pulls off a wig because the guy shows up and goes, you fool, she'll never forgive me. And he goes, you can stop worrying. This isn't your fiance. It's her twin brother. He must have escaped from prison, smuggled himself aboard to take your sister's place, but couldn't risk his disguise when anyone who knew her too well. So that's why he was like pushing you off. She goes, that's why he wouldn't talk to me. But how did you know that? Then we have a box in the middle of the comic that says, stop before you read further. See if you can guess how the Mad Hatter saw through the disguise. Take 30 seconds. That's all you have, Mike, is 30 seconds. And get ready for the explanation. So how do you think that the Mad Hatter knew that it was the brother?
I think it's like at the end of the piano where the lady boy turns around and there's a thing hanging there.
So you think... Oh, you think they hooked up?
I think the Mad Hatter
like
thought
he went to fill her up and was just
he was like gah. Yeah, something like that.
Ah!
Oh,
that's why.
He said, Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter, which, by the way, on that top right, you see how poorly drawn on his mask is? It just looks like a red bar across his forehead.
Yeah. I keep noticing that as we go through these comics, like it changes. The position of his mask changes.
Yeah. He goes,
he didn't even look like the right person.
The resemblance was perfect, except in one detail.
His wiener.
When he drank his thyroid cartilage, commonly known as the Adam's apple.
Wait. Say that one more time.
When he drank his thyroid cartilage, commonly known as the Adam's apple, was plainly visible.
Oh, okay.
That proved he was a man.
I'm sorry.
Women don't have any Adam's apple.
I heard that as when he drank his thyroid cartilage. And I was like, what the hell is going on in the 40s?
Welcome to the 40s,
are drinking
Mike.
Thyroid cartilage.
Y'all thought the 80s was when comics got at you.
Oh, boy, it was nutty back then.
Anyway, so they arrest the
He looks
brother.
nothing like that girl. He looks nothing like her.
So they arrest the brother, and then the couple's happily ever after.
God.
And that takes us to our last Mad Hatter issue.
Mad Hatter.
With
Mad Hatter. How could you be even madder?
So there's this criminal down there. You see him. His name's Frank Farrow.
Yeah, I see him.
And he's in the middle of a bank.
Old head too.
He's in the middle of a bank heist when the Mad Hatter shows up. We know this because it shows off the Mad Hatter logo.
Yep. Which is completely different each time.
And he busts in and he goes, "You've reached the end of the trail, Farrow." And Farrow tells him, "You've still got to convince me." And he goes, "Perhaps this will do." Okay. Do you still need persuading? I thought he was rhyming. Anyway, he punches him out. He knocks him out, and he turns him in to the cops. We see the cover of a newspaper, the Daily ... They don't even name it.
Love it.
The Daily. And it says, Farrow dies in chair tonight. Appeal files, lawyer concedes defeat. Appeal fails, lawyers defeat, if I could get that out.
I got you.
So they go to send this criminal, Frank Farrow, to the electric chair.
Electric chair.
After he's electrocuted, it says, at the prison morgue, Frank Farrow was executed an hour ago. I've come for the body. And he goes, you're the guy who wanted it for experiments. Okay.
What the fuck?
Okay, Pharaoh didn't object, and the warden granted your request. Later, in a dim-lit operating room...
Is that how it works?
Later, in a dim-lit operating room, the heart and lungs have stopped. Only the brain lives. The brain. I must work swiftly. And we see a shadow, but the doctor's face. I'm assuming it's a doctor. We never find out. And he goes, no pulse beat. Then I failed once more. Death is the victor. And then he looks like a clown.
He does look like a clown. Look at that red nose.
And he goes, is it hopeless? No man can reconcile the
God almighty.
The antagonism between man and beast. No mind can live in an alien body. Why beast? Because he has tried to basically install his brain into a monkey.
Yeah.
But the doctor goes, I've been a fool. It's time I called it into these vain experiments. And about that time, the monkey starts choking him out.
No.
I'm not dead, but he is. It's the monkey's thoughts.
Uh-huh.
What has he done to me? My face like a beast. This can't be me, but I can think, and the thoughts are mine. I am Frank Pharaoh.
I could really go for a nanner.
So essentially, this criminal is now in the body of a monkey, of a giant gorilla.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a Tuesday.
But this was not the end for Frank Pharaoh's life. Still pulsed in the strange carcass. I'm trying to read this, and some of the text is bad. And gradually, he began to
some of it's bad.
master the shambling creature, which was his outward self. He learned to stand erect, even to fashion words out of guttural grumblings. And so, yeah, he essentially becomes a crime boss. And he he steals this guy's clothes. And then he robs a mask store, but the only thing that's gone is a plain rubber mask. All the thief took was a rubber mask. Can you describe him? He was a big guy wearing a gray suit and gloves.
Oh, and he had a rubber mask on.
And so, well, no, he just stole the rubber mask.
No, I'm saying when he left.
And so he pulls it on. He goes, not so handsome as I was, but there are advantages. I've the strength of a dozen men. Ha! Frank Pharaoh is dead. From this hour, the gargoyle lives. So what about him as gargoyle?
Why is he called the gargoyle?
Because I don't know. But a monkey who wears a rubber mask is named the gargoyle.
Oh, my God. What happened to that guy's head?
That's Fuddy and Bustle.
Yeah, but look at his head.
Yeah. Anyway, the gargoyle starts. I don't have an answer for you. You will see the Mad Hatter shows up again, but the gargoyle starts using his old men to pull off crimes.
Now the hat comes out of the circle.
It does. It changes every time he uses it.
That is not how you build a brand.
By changing the logo every time?
Every single time it's different, yeah.
Yeah, no. But so then the gargoyle uses all of his old men as they go and finish out all these other jobs, but he's essentially taking out all the witnesses everybody on the jury that found him guilty.
Got it.
He's taking them all out one by one. And so...
Can I talk to you after you're done?
No. Dear God, no.
Okay.
Of course you can.
Oh,
Just right in the middle of the show. He comes in right in the middle of the show. I see how it is.
That's fine. Mason making demands. No, you're good, Mason. I'm giving you a hard time.
You're fine.
So, so the Mad Hatter and Gargoyle are battling back.
That was
and
weird,
forth.
right?
A little bit.
Okay. Leave it in.
Okay. Yes,
Just
sir.
leave it all in.
So, and I'm trying to find the puns here. Oh, he goes, though I table this affair, be sure I won't forget it. By your leave a nosegay fair, but you must come and get it.
What the fuck?
I have no clue. Let's see. Summoning all of his power, the Mad Hatter lands a bone-crushing blow as he punches the guy, Gargoyle, in the face. And he's like, I don't know who this is.
Mm-hmm.
But he puts together, I'm kind of putting this story, condensing it down. He puts together that the Gargoyle is hunting down everybody involved in the Frank Pharaoh case.
Yeah.
From the jury.
The Gargoyle. What a stupid name.
It is a stupid name.
For a monkey in a rubber mask.
I'm trying to remember.
My other problem with stuff like this, Zach, is just that Who is not going to be able to tell it's a rubber mask?
Well, here's the thing. They don't. So some of his henchmen show up and they're like, the Mad Hatter's after us. Like, we didn't want to get, like, locked up and all of that. And he's like, we don't work for you. We work for Frank Farrow. And he's like, I'm Frank Farrow. And he, like, pulls the mask off. And they don't realize that there's a gorilla under there the whole time he does that.
Oh, they pull it off and they're like, okay. Thanks,
yeah.
Frank. Appreciate it.
So, and then he, like, sets fire to where they were. Anyway, the Mad Hatter, like...
This thing has lost a little steam.
It has a little bit. Oh, man. Anyway, so the Mad Hatter.
That guy got an ass crack in the
gargoyle.
back of his suit coat.
Well, so the gargoyle hunts down. You can look up all the in between, but the
Yeah,
gargoyle hunts down one of the women that's on this jury. Her and her
Okay.
kid are at like this park, and so he hunts them.
It's like an
down.
amusement park. They're on
Yeah,
a roller
An
coaster.
amusement park.
Yeah,
So
I
he
got you.
hunts them down at the amusement park, and he's about to pounce, and they wait for him, and he waits for like the roller coaster that he's on there.
Yeah.
And Mad Hatter is climbing up the roller coaster to try to get there to them. And I think he's riding on like another cart to like land to them. And he eventually jumps in and gets into their cart, and they get into a fight there. And while they're fighting, he goes, "This time it's a fight to the finish, Gargoyle. Like this time we're gonna fight to end it all." And so Gargoyle is like, it'll be your finish. I'll send you flying off this cart. And then he goes and he punches him so hard. Mad Hatter punches Gargoyle so hard that it knocks the mask clean off, right?
Sure.
The mask that's been able to survive everything else.
Yeah, his rubber mask flies off.
Yeah, and he goes, but then you're an unpleasant fellow.
That is one strong haberdasherer.
He ends up throwing him off of the cart down into a giant pool of water.
Yee!
And it goes, a weird choking scream marks the death trail of the gargoyle. And he goes, so he died like the beast he was. Strange. But for a while, I thought the gargoyle was really Frank Farrow in disguise. It would have explained the murders. Now I'll never know the real reason for them. So he never knows that the beast had Frank Farrow's brain. That's because it's a cliffhanger. But he leaves another card. This time it doesn't have the hat down there.
No, it's written like a third grader.
But it goes, though I dream of sweets and stuff, kings and cabbage aren't enough. I must have danger too, the Mad Hatter.
What the hell does that even mean?
He must have danger too, Mike.
Not just cabbage.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense. Why he's gone. The Mad Hatter never stays long, except where he's needed. Sometimes he doesn't make much sense either. Or does he? I've never been quite sure. But is the gargoyle really dead? Only time will tell.
Oh, boy.
The gargoyle is really dead because that ends it.
That's the last time the Mad Hatter showed up?
No, the Mad Hatter showed up in the Golden City and the ones after that.
Oh, I see. This was this was the first one.
Yeah. Anyway, that does it for us. That's the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, it's kind of hot
this
garbage
week's.
right there, isn't it? It's pretty rough.
You enjoyed it for a little bit.
I did. No, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it
lost
overall.
its steam for a bit
Well, I
there,
blame that
though.
on Mason, but I'm just saying that is. It was, in parts, it's poorly drawn. Most of it's terrible writing.
That's okay. The next actual show we do, we're gonna do something good. We're gonna do
Okay.
Wonder Woman: Dead Earth. That's a creative team that we know very well.
Oh yeah, that's the one that did Wrestle Me God or whatever that was called.
Yep, do a power bomb, or
Yeah.
as Mike calls it, Wrestle Me God, which
Wrestle Me God.
was a really good series too. Probably the second best thing I read behind Supergirl last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I thought we talked about that.
Well, I know how much you liked Supergirl, so
Yeah. Well, Vision was up there. We'll do Strange Adventure at some point in time.
Yeah.
It's just some of these, they're so dense and so long, like we have to break it up. And so I have to be like, all right, the next 3 weeks we're covering the same story. So.
Sure.
Anyway, that does it for us. That was Mad Hatter, the great crime fighter back from 1946.
He was really good.
On World's Finest Wednesday, coming up this week, we have a Superman story from Action Comics involving Lois Lane, Lana Lang, Hercules, and Samson.
Oh.
So a trio of strong men.
Hercules.
You'll want to hang around and see what that is about this Wednesday. So make sure to tune in for that. Thank you guys for listening, as always, for taking the time out to make comments, to just follow along. If you made it this far, I can't thank you enough for it all.
Oh boy, you ain't kidding.
Make sure to check out Rogue Media Network and all the other great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
And until next time. Stay safe, everybody.
Hey, Galicon.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.